Thank you very much. I don't get that from my students up front, but anyway, that's good. Right, I've been asked to talk, make 5 points on the potential environmental impacts of Brexit. And I thought, yeah, easy enough. And then what I'm ending up with doing here today is, sort of raising 5 points on the potential environmental impacts of Brexit. So, the content of my talk, it will be about context. Well, of course, everything that I can talk about is speculative, right? Brexit hasn't happened, and we don't really know what way it will go. Environmental policy in this country is European policy largely. And context is extremely important, but of course that's not what I'm going to talk about. Context is an important part of my talk, and I call it context, perceptions, and facts, or sticking with the current way of thinking, alternative facts maybe. Very briefly talk about the current UK situation and what is planned at the moment at least. And then I make the 5 points that you're probably, expecting when we talk about 5 environmental points. Very briefly, I'm going to look at agriculture, transport and energy together, even though strictly speaking that's 2 sectors, waste and environmental assessment. My time isn't up yet. Okay, so first of all, save the planet. I was asked to present, and the European elections came up, and on various sites, Facebook, Twitter, you got all of a sudden notes like this. Wow, vote for a Remain party because EU environmental protection laws are important and we don't want to lose them. Very good. I got a tweet. 5 things the EU does for the environment. That's my talk. Single-use plastic. Well, I think that's slightly misstated because, of course, it's getting rid of that. Cleaner air, cleaner cars, speed protection, protecting the trees. And then in this tweet, it also says the climate crisis demands partnership across borders because climate change knows no borders. And on that note, thank you. That's my talk now. Everything said. Yeah. No, of course not. So, environmental policy is largely European policy in the EU, in EU member states, and it's really important, and it has done a lot. Just sort of a few hints I will give in a moment. But of course, it's not like that as well. And of course, we all know that the EU, the European institutions, they're not perfect, of course. So not all is well. He's writing again, yes. Issues, of course, are never that simple. And what type of points are we talking about anyway? So I want to start with a bit of criticism. And when the campaign towards the referendum started, there were quite a few people like Jenny Jones, who is a Green politician. She's now, I think, in the House of Lords. And she said the EU is an outsized behemoth beyond reform. The Green case for Brexit. And of course, what she means is, it's a project promoting endless industrial development and growth, and she says it doesn't fit the Green vision. And I mean, you will hear quite a few of those arguments. What's behind it? That's a map, a global map, and it shows on the 30th of October at 1 p.m. the number of sort of big ships, container ships, tankers, whatever, on the oceans. It's amazing, isn't it? There is, you can follow that over the whole year. When you click on that site, you see. But anyway, of course, what she's saying is the EU is an institution, was created to enhance trade, and that's, she said, is not good for the environment. Well, I I think we have to be a bit careful here what we do. And of course, it goes back to what I said a moment ago. Things are more complex. They're not that simple. I think, personally, I believe we put blinkers on if we put it that simple. And there really is also a danger of siding with the wrong people. I'm worried about him, Clive. His new friends seem quite rough. We have to be careful who we side with. And that's very true when it comes to environmental policy. So let's just have a quick look. We're still talking about context. What are the key Brexit advocates saying? And forgive me, some of you may cringe at some photographs, but maybe not. Boris Johnson. And I refrain from showing sort of ridiculous photographs. It endears certain people that I don't want to be endeared by. We can simplify planning, he says, and speed up public procurement. And perhaps we would then be faster. And what it boils down to is saying, well, we might decide that it isn't necessary for every environmental impact assessment to monitor 2 life cycles of the snail and build special swimming pool for newts. It's clear what he's saying, right? Let's get rid of it. Environmental assessment is my main area of activity. I've been working on this for 25 years. Anyway, Jacob Rees-Mogg, we could, if we wanted, accept emission standards from India, America, and Europe. There'd be no contradiction with that. Okay, you probably have heard these statements. John Redwood, Al Gore and the BBC climate change propaganda machine tells us the science of climate change is settled. Science is never settled. And I'm sorry, I have to have him here. That's what he basically says to everything, right? I don't believe it. Okay, and this, when we talk about 5 points on the potential environmental impacts, is really important because there's a key connection with the post-truth or alternative facts era or agenda with the way Brexit is put forward. We used to be on that side. I think therefore I am, but now it's I believe therefore I'm right, and this is really important. So there's a few things that then show the issues and the trickiness and problems with it. Donald Trump saying things like, oh yeah, if we have windmills, we have to turn off the television if there's no wind. Last week, some of you may have heard that. US Energy Department rebrands fossil fuels as molecules of freedom. Okay, and I mean that's the spirit, right? Also, we shouldn't forget this. Remember the 2007 economic crisis. That's based on a survey of 1,000 adults who ranked the economy as one of the most important issues facing Britain. And ever since then, it has stayed high. And of course, Brexit is likely to come with quite a few economic problems. So people see the economy as the most important issue and problem, whereas sort of previously, it would be other issues, climate change, environmental issues, and so on. Okay. But, okay, now back to different points. The current situation and plan. I mean, the government, the country likes to portray itself as an environmental pioneer these days, and that's not untrue. And we will hear about climate change, and I think that there is truth to that with regards to few environmental aspects. We don't forget, at one point, Britain, considered itself the dirty men of Europe. 80s. When I arrived in the mid-90s to do a PhD in Manchester, I was shocked by the way, wastewater was just dumped into the sea, right? Okay, so we shouldn't forget that. There is now a 25-year plan, and it is ambitious, but very briefly, now, the 5 points. Agriculture. Common agricultural policy, that has been criticized, and it's true, and there is an issue with that. But as I said before, not everything is positive or everything is negative. So that's an example where I would say it's like this when we look at the success of European environmental policy. And it's because it really supports large corporations to do something. Transport, there are targets set by the EU based on negotiations and everything. And there are indications when we look at what's happening right now that if the UK leaves the EU, it will try to get rid of those targets and will not try to reach them. This is a recent example of cuts to plug-in cars come down. So I think overall, when it comes to transport and that part of energy, the European integration has been good. Waste. 50% recycling targets reached 44%, which is amazing. When I came here in the mid-1990s, hardly anything was recycled. Overall positive, and you see that here, recycling targets really going up for the UK. But it's now stalled at 44%, and again, based on the statements we have heard and based on the perception that it will be a difficult economic environment, it's doubtful whether there will still be the effort being made to increase that. Environmental assessment, I mentioned that, my point of view. It's an instrument for planning optimization. It's applied to major projects. There's only a small number of projects, but it is criticized by some. You saw the statement by Boris Johnson. However, it's one of the best appraisal tools we have. It's much more reliable than, for example, cost-benefit analysis that all economists love. From that moment on, Leonard made one bad decision after the other. I mean, that's how you have to imagine environmental assessment if you kill it, all right? Okay. And finally, of course, you've all heard the talk about Singapore and Thames. What would that mean? Well, Britain could slash environmental and safety regulations on imported products after it leaves the EU. And with that, the 10 minutes are up, and I leave you with that statement. Thank you.